Welcome, everybody. It's your boy, the Versace Stoner, and we are cruising for a bruisin'. Disable went to get some food. He's been driving all day. I was smoking and then I took a nap and I woke up. I think we're in the land of superheroes or something. Things look a little strange. I don't know. He went into the store though. Said he had to get some food. Looks like we're at a rest stop. I'm not sure. He needs to stretch his legs. That's fine. I'm going to sit here in the car. I got my trusty pen with me. It's Purple Urkel. You know how the Versace Stoner does. And we're just chilling here. Do we run into somebody? Maybe. Anything can happen here on Cruisin for a Bruisin'. We've seen that. Almost every time we stop somewhere and make a stop, we have ran into somebody notable. We talked to some of the greatest champions so far. We talked to Top Daddy. He's a tremendous. That was one of my favorite interviews. Tough Daddy. He just had so much heart. And Rodney, the Rod Father, he has so much heart. So many good memories so far on this road trip. And here we go. Somebody right now. Hello. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Hello?
Hello.
Hi, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Very good. This is the Versace Stoner. I just sent to Sable. He went to get some food, so it'll be me interviewing you tonight here on Cruisin for a Bruisin'. And this is the mighty Bosch, right?
That it is.
Hell yeah.
How are you, my citizens?
We're doing good. We are doing good tonight. Finally got some nice weather. No more rain.
I know, isn't it a beautiful thing?
Really is. Especially since it's almost. It'll be August in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So let's ask you
Don't
some.
remind me. Time is going way too fast.
Yeah, it is. Speeding up at tremendous speeds. So let me ask something. I've started watching you probably, I don't know, maybe about, it's hard to gauge with the pandemic, but I saw you in one of the Proving Ground shows. I don't know which one, Todd aired that you were on. That's when I first started watching you. But that's not when you first started.
That is correct. That is not when I first started. My first round was back in the times of old that we call the 90s. I actually debuted an organization in Rhode Island known as Power League Wrestling, and that was in September of 1996. So
You're talking some time ago.
Yeah, so that was my first time through, and then I came. I did a run then, and then when I made my return for my second go round, which is what I'm in now, that was back in, I believe, April of 2019.
So you took some time off.
Yes. I did about 3.5 years the Rhode Island circuit back in the 90s. And then, I had to go and fight some other evils out and about. Now I've been brought back to see if I can lend myself to this new generation.
And I think that's important, and it's great that you can do that. I've been a wrestling fan since WrestleMania 2, so that's even back into the 80s. I grew up watching people like King Kong Bundy and Macho Man Randy Savage, and larger than life characters. Then the
Absolutely.
90s came, and you still had that. You still had this grandeur. You had crazy people dressing up, but everything still was larger than life. And then all of a sudden, around, I don't know, for me, it was around a little bit 2001, everything just fell flat. And I was like, I can't do this. I can't watch this. This is not what wrestling is to me anymore. And I myself just kind of stopped watching. I watched other, promotions started opening up. There was some more major promotions, even though, like, the other ones closed down. You still had, like, I think TNA running, and you had a few others. But and then I got out of all that major stuff, and I started to get into the indie scene because the indie scene was really exciting. You had new faces, people had heart, and people actually enjoyed what they did, and you could interact with them.
Absolutely.
You don't get that at a major event. It's cool to go to, it's fun, but you're never gonna, unless you spend $500 to $600, you're not gonna talk with their champion.
Very true. Very true.
And the people.
But it's a different animal when you get to the bigger name companies and stuff like that, and then that's the benefit of indie wrestling. I think, especially when my first go through happened and everything like that, the most important thing that we would have is either like the intermissions or the after shows or something like that, where we got to interact with the fans, and if we couldn't do it, during the actual show, at the intermission or whatever, there was time when the show was over to, come out, mill about, talk to the fans. Hi, hello, how are you? Did you enjoy the show? Thanks for coming. Some photo ops and things like that. So there's definitely a much more intimate feeling when one comes around and looks at the indie scene or goes about the indie scene.
Oh, there is, definitely. I mean, I remember as a small child, I had to be about maybe 8 or 9, and the indie scene came to my town. And, they brought in, it was the indie scene, but, like all indie shows, or some, especially back then, they would always grab somebody from the WWF that wasn't being used or may have moved, and they'd bring them in. And so I got to meet, Honky Tonk Man, Warlord, and I think Tito Santana. And I had to be about, like I said, 7 or 8. And just the feeling of getting to step in the ring with them, get the Polaroid picture, you know. It was such a different feeling than going to, a WrestleMania or a Survivor Series. And that's what I think really sold it for me, because I was like, well, this is kind of tangible. It's not TV, but it's tangible. It's happening in front of me. These guys are competing right here today, right now.
Right. Absolutely.
I'm a little old to jump into wrestling, but I am going to give it a go. I am going to look at schools. I am going to try. I am, I've heard people a little bit older than me try. I'm not looking to make, a name out of myself. I'm looking to have a little fun because I am a fan and I do like the showmanship, the entertainment part. And, to be honest, you need to at least know some part of the business to be in the business, I feel.
Very true. And it's always worthwhile to give it a try, and you're only as old as you feel. And
exactly. I mean, I think, now more than ever, age doesn't really matter if you stay healthy. If you do the right things with your body, you can get the most out of it. Maybe back in the, the 90s and 2000s, people, they stopped these things a lot sooner. Now you see people wrestling a lot older, and they're doing a great job at it. Some of them are in better shape than the youth.
Very true. You look at guys like, Jericho and Sting and stuff like that in the major promotions, and they were smart and they didn't do anything super crazy, and even though they had some very crazy moments and things like that, but they were able to protect themselves, and
they did.
Aside from a few freak accidents or something like that, for the most part, Sting's got to be what, in his 60s now?
Yeah, and he did a nice cinematic match. It looked good.
And he got back in the ring and actually wrestled a match recently. You're not wrong when you say age is just a number, but at the same time too, there's also you got to understand your body, and if your body's not holding up to it, then you shouldn't torture it, no matter how much you love professional wrestling. You know,
Oh,
and there's other
yeah, I
aspects
mean-
of pro wrestling that can be very fulfilling and very useful. You know, managers are always welcome, especially if you've got a mind for the business. Commentation.
Oh, yeah,
I'm making up words now.
Exactly, and I plan to, try to delve into a little bit of it all, but I did get an opportunity to try a day camp, and then I figured maybe I'll just try a couple months. Like you said, I have an amateur boxing background. I know what it takes, and I also, like you said, you know when to quit. There is a time when you have to look at it and be like, okay, I'm really starting to feel some pain here. It's not really worth it. Also, you have to know your limitations and understand that at my age, I am 99.9% sure that I'm not going to get booked by a major company.
But you know what?
If I come to that realization,
you want to get into it.
Exactly. So if I got to get into it for the right reason, and that's the reason because I want to see if I can do it, and because I just love the sport of wrestling and I like to entertain people and so forth. So if I take the aspect that I'm never going to make it big time, make $1 million, and I take the aspect that I'm probably not going to be able to do an hour death match either. I mean, it gives me some kind of hope that, hey, I can do something.
Right.
You
know, and you come out, you do your thing, and if it works, it works, and if it doesn't, you can at least be secure and satisfied in the knowledge, you know what, I tried it, I did it, and nobody can ever take that away from me.
Yeah, and that's what I did with the boxing. Unfortunately, my back got hurt from some training, and I had to take time, and then it just kind of, I don't know if you ever got an injury due to a sport, but the more time you take from it, the less drive you get to do it, and it just kind of got to that point. And I got back to it, but it just wasn't the same energy level. I didn't have the same heart for it. But, I do other athletic stuff and stay fit, and like I said, and besides that, I got a 3-year-old. He keeps me running around more than anybody else.
Yeah, well, that's enough cardio for anybody to last.
Yeah, people don't realize that they never run out of energy. So let me ask you this: so you're back now. You took a hiatus. You're back in Proving Ground. You got some matches. You're working there. You looking to expand even outward further in New England? Any other promotions you're looking to fight in?
Well, Proving Ground actually is what isn't actually my first promotion back into. I actually won the Ideal Opportunity Tournament that Proving Ground hosted just before the pandemic hit.
Yep.
So I won that against some of the biggest names, top names in the Southern New England kind of scene right now. So, that's a pretty big feather in my cap. But I've worked for other promotions. I've worked for the RWA. Oh my God, I'm drawing a blank. Can you believe this? It's probably because I haven't had enough coffee. No, I've worked for RWA, UFO, TOS, Test of Strength, Providence Wrestle Party,
okay.
RICW. I did a taping up at Limitless.
Oh, nice.
I've worked Shut Up and Wrestle. I've worked Battlefront Pro.
Any NCW?
I've been fortunate enough to be able to go around and make a bigger impact this time around than I did my first go. I've done, the Brick House.
So you've definitely got some more kind of, and not, I mean, to be honest, yeah, the scene's also changed a lot. I mean, in that 90s scene to now, the indie scene is so much more respected. It's so much more different. There's more rules, but it's a cleaner scene too.
Yeah, and then the great thing about it is that in every one of the promotions, like when I was in House of Bricks, I was in a tag team, for Shut Up and Wrestle. I've done singles, TOS singles, stuff like that. So, I mean, I'm definitely, charting a course and blazing a path and flying all around as much as I can, doing what I can. And it's been great, and it's been fun, and it's unbelievable. And I'm getting to meet all this great talent and all these new people, and at the same time too, I'm running into some folks that I haven't seen in a good long time, and like not too long ago, I ran into Don Vega.
Okay.
And I ran into Brutal Bob Evans. He and I were contemporaries back in the '90s. Like, it's been great and it's wonderful. And if I can continue to do so, I want to. Like, there's definitely some promotions out around the New York area I'd be interested in going to. I mean, anybody who's willing to work with me, I'm willing to work with. So.
Yeah, I know.
If we can get down to Florida or out to California or all points in between, I'm interested.
I know NCW is running their Big City Rumble in August. Yep. Championship opportunity there. Could reach out to JC Marks maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
But yeah, I know there's a few promotions out in the Jersey, New York area we've been looking at too. The Wrestlers Lab. There's a few others we're kind of gonna venture out on this summer, because it's a vast scene, and you know what? I mean, not for nothing, but one day you're seeing them in the VFW hall, and the next day you're seeing them on TV. Tonight you got the IWTV champion Wheeler Yuta, on TV fighting Sammy. That's a pretty big match. When I just seen the guy, not only but a couple of weeks ago at the White Eagle.
Right, exactly, and that's one of the best parts about wrestling now versus wrestling 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, whatever. There's more opportunities to watch it, and there's more opportunities as a worker to be seen on it. Like IWTV, there's all the promotions around the country. There's YouTube channels. There's all the different social medias.
Yeah,
there's
not
tons
all
of places.
You don't have to wait so much for the intermission after the show. You can delve into fans on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, wherever you can get a social page. They can watch videos. They can buy merch anywhere with a credit card. You can do so much now that you probably definitely couldn't do back then.
Right, because social media didn't exist back in the 90s. None of that existed.
You didn't have a PayPal. They didn't know what that was. There was no cell phones. Like I said, my old pictures at indie shows were with Polaroids. They weren't snapped on a fancy phone. There was none of that. But today you got all of that greatness, and it is a good thing. It gets names out. That's the reason why we started here at the VSW. I was just I see a lot of indie wrestling. I see a lot of greatness. I see a lot of great wrestlers wrestle. There's a lot of big names in New England. The only issue is nobody knows who they are outside of New England. Not because they don't, it's just they don't get the exposure. Either their shows aren't on IWTV, or they just don't. The promotions aren't drawing huge numbers, and that's they get their local scene pumped, but I like to get people nationally known. So I've been starting to take on guests and just be like, listen. I got kind of a following that a lot of indie people are watching across the states. Let's bring guests on. Let everybody know who you are. And let everybody watch.
Yeah, and that's the benefit of this modern era now is the fact that there are people like you who are so into wrestling, who are so into trying to help people out and everything like that. And podcast is a great way to do it. And again, all the different social medias and all it takes is that one match strike for, that spark to turn into a bonfire, and somebody could be, Mr. Unknown on Tuesday, and come the weekend, half the country knows who this guy is. Like, it's...
Exactly, and I'm grateful, the pandemic was a hard hit. Everybody had to stop what they were doing, I was literally at one show on one day, and then I was told the show that I had tickets for the next day was canceled. And I saw the devastation in a lot of the wrestlers' faces. I saw it in their posts. I saw it in, the promoters' posts. So, we were a little bit blessed here at VSW of not taking such a hard hit. So we did try to support the indie scene. We tried to buy t-shirts. We tried to do stuff. When shows opened up, we started throwing some sponsorships around, trying to help out, who we can. Because it's going to take a little time to get everybody back and to get things back to where they should be. Ticket prices are still a little high. We'd like to see those get back down. Well, it's going to take time. People got to get back to work. We're always trying to help that because we have the passion for this scene. This scene helps us. we help it. It helps us emotionally, mentally. We have a good time. It's a great escape for me and disabled to go to a show. We don't have to worry about the daily struggles and the daily stress. We get into the world of wrestling. It's totally different, and I feel like that's an escape for a lot of people. And it's a healthy way to do things. It's not I'm not taking drugs. I'm not running away. I'm going to a nice event for a couple hours and getting to have some fun and not have to be stressed.
Yeah, and sometimes you go to the a promotion that you are fond of. You go for a couple of months, whatever, and you get used to the talent and everybody who's there. And then all of a sudden they bring in somebody new, and boom, barn doors open, and things are crazy. Like, I get it. I walked into Battlefront my first time a couple of weeks ago, and a lot of the people there weren't very much aware of who I was. There had been some rumblings, and there were some people in the crowd who knew who I was and everything like that. But, I got out there and made the connection, and it was dynamite because it was a live crowd after not having one for over 14 months.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a difference in, the taping era. Yeah, there's some people out there, but it's all your friends. It's the people that you might be facing. You got other wrestlers out there just filling seats waiting for their turn. It's not the live crowd that everybody needs chanting and booing. That's the energy level that is a very important part of wrestling. It's probably 1/3, if not half of it, is the energy that comes off the crowd. It dictates the way the match can run. It dictates the way the wrestlers wrestle. I've seen people stutter up because they're getting booed, and the other guy will take advantage of that and win. I've seen all sorts of crazy stuff happen just because of the way that the crowd reacts.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You're not wrong. I think the term in football or something like that is like the 12th man or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's because of the crowd.
You always see it during the field goal. The crowd will start and people miss field goals because of things that should be instant, they get missed. Or they'll tell the crowd to quiet down. We need silence. Crowds play a big role in how people perform. And I'm so happy to see the crowds are back because it does make a difference for the wrestlers. They need that support. That's what gives a lot of the guys the drive to keep going out and doing everything because they're doing it for the fans. They're sure enough not doing it for the payday.
The fans are the ones that make it worth it. So we appreciate, at least I do anyways, I definitely appreciate all the fans and the fan support. So that's definitely a big thing for me.
And that's the funny thing. I've never not ran. And I've talked to all sorts of guys. I've talked to good guys. I've talked to some pretty bad guys. Some pretty dangerous bad guys you don't want to get in the ring with. I've talked to some, pretty nice guys. And I have to say, not any one of them has ever said anything bad about fans. They all appreciate them. Everybody appreciates fans. Whether they're out there to hate you, whether they're out there to love you, guess what? They're still out there to show you attention, and with that, they have to care about you to do that. So, gotta remember that. But I got another question. So with your return, do you have any guys on your radar you want to wrestle?
Oh, that's a loaded question there, Mr. Stoner. There's so much talent out there that just would be amazing to get in the ring and go against. Oh my God! There's the big man up at Limitless, Eric Johnson. I'd love to go one-on-one with. Dylan Nix, Alexander Lee, those guys up there. The current K1 champion over at TOS, Mike's love to be able to get in there with him. Do what we got to do. It's great too because especially with somebody like Mike Skyros, he's kind of got a Moon Knight thing going. I kind of got a Superman hero thing going. I think it'd be an interesting kind of match.
Yeah, it would definitely be interesting and work together.
Kiggy Sosa is another guy that I've seen on that I want to maybe go one-on-one with. There's just so much. And that's just the people I can say off the top of my head right now. And I mean, I could probably put a list together and everything like that, but it might be as, a mile long and 2 miles wide, just because
And now,
there's so much talent out there. And and I'm also there's also I would love to also be able to go up against people like Davian, or have another shot with Asana or Karen Bam Bam or Becca, leader of the Scrunchy Squad.
Yeah, you got all this new talent that's come in, like Love Thug and all these great people that are exploding on the scene. But then you got the fun guys and the guys that have been around, like Insane Dick Lane and all of them.
So exactly. Mike, I mean, that's such a hard, Helen Thomas, man. It's just, there's so many.
And then you wrestlers got the Shocker coming back. You got Anthony Green making his return to the indie scene. I mean, everybody's going to want to wrestle him.
Yeah, there's just, I'm just, at this point, just very happy and humbled to be able to be back doing what I love. There's a lot of talent out there, doesn't matter. I'm ready, willing, and able to get out there and get in between the ropes and go do what I got to do. I'd love to be able to get in there against, Bo or Slick Wagner, or Bobby Ocean. There's so much talent to just.
So much.
If I was able to be able to choose, I probably wouldn't be able. If I could choose who I could wrestle every weekend, I probably wouldn't have a weekend off for 2 years straight, and I still have people to choose from.
Yeah. I mean, the talent pool right now is really, really rich. It's richer than I think a lot of people think. I mean, unless you're really into the indie scene, you really don't know how really actually talented it is right now.
Yeah, I mean, and that's not even talking about, all the various, those are just the promotions, again, off the top of my head, people that I can think of,
Yeah, and that's only, within, certain range. You also can start, going out to, GCW and all these other promotions. And then you got all sorts of guys out there that are just killing the scene.
I mean, and that's just, that's mostly just the Northeast New England area, New York, Northeast New England, that area. That
doesn't even touch
account for anybody down in Georgia or Florida or Indiana, Ohio, or
even
out in California or Washington State. None of that. That's there's so much out there.
We even had a guy on our show here on this Cruisin for a Bruisin from Kansas. I mean, there's a wrestling scene almost anywhere where there's a desire for it.
Exactly. So I mean, I am down to fly and bring my brand of wrestling to anybody who's willing to have me. So
that is great, and we are just about out of time here, but I'd like to ask one question. Well, actually, Disabled Life likes to ask one question to all the participants, and I'm going to go with it. So why should you, out of all the wrestlers on the card, stand out and win the inaugural Cruisin for a Bruisin accolade?
Well, I think you and I can agree that someone as myself who's coming back after such a hiatus, that's tearing up the scene with his brand of truth, justice, and equality. I'm kid-friendly. I'm here to make a statement. I'm here to show the young ones that there's no such thing as an age limit, and I'm here to show the veterans that just because they've been going for so long doesn't mean that somebody can't come over and end it all for them. I am here to bring hope. I am here to show people that it can be done. And I think, honestly, when you've got somebody like me that's family-friendly, kid-friendly, can be brought anywhere at any time, you pretty much got a safe bet with the mighty Bosch.
Fair enough, and I couldn't agree more. Well, thank you very much for your time. We really enjoyed talking with you.
Appreciate it very much. Keep doing what you're doing, man. And who knows, maybe one day it'll be me versus you.
Hey, you never know.
In the squared circle.
Never know. Have a good one, brother.
Thank you much. Have a great night.
What a great interview with the mighty Bosch. Like I said, you never know who we're going to run into on this Cruisin for a Bruisin. Now I don't know what's taking Disabled Wolf. I'm freaking starving like Marvin here. This kid said he was going to get some quick food and stretch. I mean, where did he go? Go hunting for the food? I'm hungry. I'm going to have to now go in. I'm going to have to get out of my car. I've been just smoking for 20 to 30 minutes. I don't want to move. Oh, this Disabled Wolf. I don't know what I'm going to do with him. But, hey, at least he drives. Okay, well, thank you, everybody, for tuning into this episode of Cruisin for a Bruisin. And we'll keep on trucking. I'm going to go find where he went and get my food.